and welcome to Prosper India. I am your host and news analyst Nishtha. While India food exports face rejections despite huge agricultural output, India is one of the largest food producers, and yet India food products are still getting rejected in the global market. Brands like MDH and Everest have faced scrutiny or rejection in some export markets like the EU and Hong Kong. So the question is simple. If India produces so much food, why does it struggle with global food trust? The answer is not its production, its standards, consistency and trust and infrastructure. In the scale paradox of Indian agriculture, India is a global agriculture giant. Around 42% of the workforce depend on the agriculture. Agriculture contributes only 15 to 18% of the GDP. But here's the core issue. India produces at massive scale but operates at highly fragmented quality levels. Average farm size is only about 1.08 hectares per farmer. That means millions of small producers work independently, creating huge variations in pesticide use, drying methods, storage condition and contamination risk. So the issue is not quantity, it's consistency. India's Food Safety Authority (FSSAI) ensures food is safe for domestic consumption, but global markets operate differently. For example, EU food rules (EFSA) standards enforce much stricter pesticide residue limits. Many countries require near zero tolerance for certain chemical traces. Export markets demand full farm-to-table traceability. So the mismatch is FSSAI is safe for India, whereas EU or US is export grade certified plus traceable plus ultra low residue. That gap alone causes rejection risk. Now, why does MDH and Everest became part of this discussion? Recently, Indian spice brands like MDH and Everest came under scrutiny in some international markets, including the parts of EU and Hong Kong, over concerns related to pesticide residue, quality compliance check, and import testing procedures. Now, the important point is that this does not mean that Indian spices are unsafe overall. It means that export markets apply stricter testing thresholds, and even small deviations can trigger rejections or recalls. In global trade, perception risk matters as much as actual risk. Now, the actual export problem is not its production, it is the predictability. Global food trade runs on one principle: consistency builds trust. But India struggles with three structural issues. First is fragmented supply chains. Millions of small farmers uneven quality. The second is weak traceability. They are often difficult to track which exact farm produced which batch. The third one is post-harvest losses. Only about 10 to 12% of perishable produce has storage cold chain coverage. So quality can degrade before export even begins. The deeper economic problem in Indian agriculture is high output, low standardization, weak certification integration. So even when FSSAI ensures domestic safety, export markets demand uniform chemical standards, verified sourcing, controlled processing environments. This is why rejection risks exist even for large established brands. India's export problem is not about banning production, it is about upgrading its systems. First one is that export grade certification layer. Separate strict standards for export crops under FSSAI plus APEDA. Farmers Produced Organization (FPOs), reduce fragmentation and improve bulk quantity control. The third one is digital traceability, QR based or digital tracking from farm to export batch. The fourth is cold chain expansion, reduce spoilage and contamination risk. The fifth one is crop-specific export clusters, specialized regions for spices, grains, fruits, or consistent global quality. India doesn't have a food production problem, it has a food standardization problem at a scale. So the gap is not between safe and unsafe, it is between domestic safety systems versus global export trust system. And in global trade, trust is not declared, it is verified shipment after shipment. So, India's agriculture story is not just about how much it produces, it is about whether it can convert massive production into consistent global grade trust at a scale.